Concept of roots of a quadratic equation. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are beginning a new subsection where we will explore the fundamental concept of what it means for a number to be a root or a solution of a quadratic equation. It is important to grasp this definition clearly, as understanding this concept is the very first step toward solving much more complex algebraic problems later in this course. So let's dive in. 1. Understanding the quadratic equation. Now that we've introduced our topic, let's dive into the first step, understanding what a quadratic equation actually is. To start, you should know that a quadratic equation is simply a polynomial equation of the second degree. This second degree part is important because it tells us that the highest power of our variable is 2. To work with these equations easily, we use what we call the standard form. This is expressed as a times x squared plus b times x plus c equals 0. In this formula, the letters a, b, and c represent real numbers, which are our coefficients. However, there is one crucial rule to remember. A cannot be equal to 0. If a were 0, the x squared term would disappear, and we wouldn't have a quadratic equation anymore. In this context, the letter x is our variable, the unknown value we are interested in. As we will see in the next few slides, our ultimate goal when solving these equations is to find the specific value or values of x that make the entire equation true, or in other words, make the left side equal to 0. 2. Defining the root of an equation. Now that we have established what a quadratic equation looks like in its standard form, let's dive into the actual definition of a root. So, what does it actually mean for a number to be a root? Imagine we have a real number, which we will represent with the Greek letter alpha. We call this alpha a root of our quadratic equation, x squared plus bx plus c equals 0, if, and this is the crucial part, whenever we replace the variable x with our value alpha, the left-hand side of the equation becomes exactly equal to the right-hand side. To put this into mathematical terms, alpha is considered a root if, when you substitute it into the expression, you get a alpha squared multiplied by a plus b multiplied by alpha plus c equals 0. When this specific condition is met and the equation balances out to 0, we use a particular piece of mathematical vocabulary. We say that the value alpha satisfies the equation. As we will see in the next few slides, satisfying the equation, finding a solution, and finding a root are all just different ways of describing this very same moment of mathematical balance. 3. Interchangeable terminology. Now, moving on to slide 4, I want to clear up some potential confusion regarding the language we use in algebra. In mathematics, we often use different terms to describe the exact same concept, which can sometimes be a bit overwhelming when you first start out. When we are dealing specifically with quadratic equations, you will notice that the following terms are used interchangeably. First, we have the term root, which refers to the specific value of the variable that solves the equation. Next, we have solution, which is simply the value that makes the equation a true statement. Finally, you might hear the phrase, satisfying the equation. This refers to the actual process, or the act of substituting a value into the equation, and seeing that it results in 0 equals 0. So here is a helpful tip for your exams. If a teacher asks you to find the roots, find the solutions, or find the values of x that satisfy the equation, please don't let the wording trip you up. They are all asking you to perform the exact same task. This leads us perfectly into our next slide, where we will look at the subtle but important distinction between a quadratic polynomial and a quadratic equation. 4. Connection between roots and zeros. Now, before we move on to our practical examples, I want to clarify a subtle but very important distinction that often trips students up. It is crucial that you learn to distinguish between a quadratic polynomial and a quadratic equation. Think of it this way. A quadratic polynomial is simply an expression, which we can write as p of x equals a x squared plus bx plus c. Notice there is no equals sign here. It's just a mathematical phrase. However, a quadratic equation is that very same expression, but it is set equal to 0, written as a x squared plus bx plus a equals 0. This leads us to the concept of zeros. The zeros of the polynomial p of x are the specific values of x that make the entire expression p of x equal to 0. So, if you connect this back to what we discussed in the previous slides about roots, you'll see that the roots of the quadratic equation at x squared plus bx plus c equals 0 are exactly the same as the zeros of the quadratic polynomial at x squared plus bx plus c, whether we call them roots or zeros. We're talking about the same set of values that satisfy the condition of making the expression vanish to 0. Illustrative example, verifying a root. Our problem is to determine whether x equals 2 is a root of the quadratic equation, x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. To find the answer, we will follow a clear, step-by-step solution. First, we identify the equation we are working with, which is x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Second, we perform the substitution. As we learned in the previous slides, to check if a value is a root, we must replace every instance of the variable x with our chosen number, which is 2. This gives us the left-hand side, or LHS, as 2 squared minus 5 times 2 plus 6. Third, we simplify the powers and the multiplication. Calculating 2 squared gives us 4, and 5 times 2 gives us 10. So, our expression simplifies to 4 minus 10 plus 6. Fourth, we perform the final addition and subtraction. To keep things organized, let's group the positive terms first. 4 plus 6 equals 10. Then, 10 minus 10 leaves us with 0. Fifth, we compare our result to the right-hand side of the original equation. Since our left-hand side equals 0 and the right-hand side is also 0, the condition is met and the equation is satisfied. In conclusion, we have verified that x equals 2 is indeed a root of the equation, x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Now, let's put everything we have discussed regarding the definition of roots into practice with an illustrative example. Now that you have seen how to verify a root mathematically, let's move on to the next slide to see how this same logic applies to a real-world scenario involving the dimensions of a garden. Real-world application example. Imagine you are designing a rectangular garden. We know that the total area of this garden is 12 square meters. We also have a specific condition. The length of the garden must be exactly 1 meter more than its width. To turn this into math, let's let our width be represented by the variable x. Since the length is 1 meter more, we can call the length x plus 1. Because the area of a rectangle is width times length, we can represent this situation with the equation x times the quantity x plus 1 equals 12. If we expand this by multiplying x into the parentheses, we get x squared plus x equals 12. By subtracting 12 from both sides to set the equation to 0, we arrive at our quadratic equation. X squared plus x minus 12 equals 0. Now, let's say you want to test a specific measurement. Suppose you want to check if a width of 3 meters is a valid solution for this garden. To do this, we simply need to check if 3 is a root of our equation, just like we practiced in the previous slide. Let's walk through the verification step by step. First, we substitute the value of 3 into every instance of x in our equation. On the left-hand side, we have 3 squared plus 3 minus 12. Next, we perform the calculation. 3 squared gives us 9, so our expression becomes 9 plus 3 minus 12. As we simplify further, 9 plus 3 gives us 12. This leaves us with 12 minus 12, which equals 0. Finally, we look at our result. Since our left-hand side equals 0 and our right-hand side is also 0, the equation is satisfied. Therefore, we can conclude that x equals 3 is indeed a root. In the context of our real-world problem, this means that a width of 3 meters is a mathematically valid dimension for our garden. Now that we have seen how to verify a root using a purely algebraic example, let's move on to slide 7, where we apply this concept to a real-world scenario. This will help you see how these abstract numbers actually represent physical dimensions. In the next slide, I will highlight some common pitfalls to watch out for when performing these types of substitutions. Common mistakes to avoid. Now, before we wrap up our lesson and move on to our final summary, I want to pause and discuss some common pitfalls. Even if you understand the concept of roots, it is very easy to make small errors that lead to the wrong conclusion. First, let's talk about sign errors. This is perhaps the most frequent mistake students make during the substitution process we practiced in the previous examples. When you are substituting a negative value, you must be extremely careful with your parentheses. For instance, if your root is x equals -2 and you are squaring it, remember that -2 squared is +4, not -4. Forgetting that a negative times a negative is a positive can completely change your result. Second, please be careful not to confuse your roots with your coefficients. As we defined in the earlier slides, the coefficients are the fixed numbers, which we call a, b, and c. The roots, which we often represent with the Greek letter alpha, are the specific values of x that we are trying to solve for. Keep these two groups of numbers distinct in your mind. Finally, watch out for incorrect substitution. When you are verifying a root, as we saw in our garden example, you must ensure that the value is substituted into every single instance of x throughout the entire equation. It is a simple mistake, but if you only substitute it into the first term and forget the others, your calculation will not be valid. Keep these tips in mind as we head into our final key takeaways. Key takeaways. First, remember that a root is simply a specific value of x that, when plugged into our quadratic equation, makes the equation true. In other words, it makes the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side, specifically making the expression equal to 0. Second, don't let the terminology confuse you. As we used earlier in the lesson, the terms root, solution, and satisfying the equation are all interchangeable. If you see any of these phrases in a problem, you can treat them as the exact same concept. Third, it is crucial to remember the connection between equations and polynomials. The roots of our quadratic equation, x squared plus bx plus c equals 0, are exactly the same as the zeros of the quadratic polynomial, x squared plus bx plus c. Finally, if you are ever asked to verify whether a number is a root, the process is straightforward. Simply substitute that value into the left-hand side of the equation. If your final calculation results in 0, then you have successfully proven that the value is indeed a root. All right, we have reached the end of our lesson. Let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways from today's session to ensure everything is clear before we move on to more advanced topics. Keep these fundamentals in mind, as they will be the foundation for everything we do next. Great job today.